Thanks, Ken.
Hey, well, thanks for having us, and thanks for sticking around for lunch. So today we're going to talk about transparency and measurement. I know it's been a hot topic of today's conversations, and there's a lot of questions around what really constitutes transparency. And then as you look at it, and there's a lot of, with the walled gardens and all the different options that are out there, what we're trying to do is provide a unique, differentiated solution to the marketplace that has a lot of applications that go above and beyond just media execution, but actually providing brands with insightful insights into their consumers and then helping close the loop with attribution. So you pushing it? Okay. So yeah, we've heard you loud and clear. Transparency is being demanded across the board. What we're trying to do is provide that transparency so you have the ability to quantify your investments into your technology, into your media, into your activation to see what is the most effective at driving what. And we look at what's really important in driving transparency and providing this type of measurement. It's got to be with people-based advertising. People-based advertising, is kind of the hot buzz term right now. And I really think there's only a few key players that are out here in the marketplace that can do it. Because in order to effectively do people-based advertising, you have to enable brands to plan, optimize, and measure. And you've got to be able to measure, plan with first-party data and activating that back to your own first-party data. From an optimization standpoint, you've got to be able to look at what are your KPIs. If they're in-store sales, offline sales, whatever it happens to be, you need to be able to do that in real time, really move away from some of the CTR, VTR, old school benchmarks. And then from a measurement standpoint, being able to provide full closed-loop attribution to that. So it's offline, online sales, understanding every single touch point, the value of each touch point, and how these different devices all correlate together to actually drive that business outcome.
So as Brian mentioned earlier, people-based data is really the key. It's the foundation to the success to finally understand what your media expenditure is to your offline sales measurement and what actually people are doing when they walk in store. Where do we start? Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, people-based data is the key. Sarah Jones, who is our spokesmodel today, I sometimes think it's Taylor Swift's sister. But we know, we start with Sarah Jones, I almost said Taylor again, with Sarah and her email address. Her email address and her devices really become the foundation for us. And everybody probably asks, Viant, what is Viant? How does Viant have all that data? Obviously, as Ken mentioned earlier, the acquisition by Meredith about a month or so ago. There was actually another acquisition of Viant about a couple years ago. So Viant was acquired by Time Inc. Time Inc. then got acquired by Meredith. What we're sitting on is around 250 million registered users of, again, personally identifiable information of people that are actually engaging in premium content that you brands want to be around on a day-to-day basis. Brands like Better Homes, Sports Illustrated, Real Simple, Fortune Magazine, and the list goes on. What we're able to do with this data is now start deterministically tying identity back to those people and their devices due to the ingestion that we have of the entire subscriber base of both mailing addresses and email addresses.
Yeah, so there's really only a few key people-based platforms that are out there in the marketplace. Obviously, you have Facebook and Google. They probably take 80 to 85% of all your investment. They're a lot of fun to work with. They tell you how to spend more money with them. Not necessarily solving all your business challenges. You've got Amazon, pretty disruptive player, really interesting in the space right now. Oath, the behemoth with AOL, Yahoo, and Verizon coming together. It's going to take them a little bit longer to get their story straight, but they've got a lot of scale. And then you've got us. And what we're trying to do is become kind of the anti-walled garden with that. And with all the registration information, we're sitting, as Jeremy mentioned earlier, 250 million consumers that we have first-party registration data on, consent to market to, and then what we've done is we've built out a full device graph against these consumers, as well as all their different subscription data from all the different print properties that own us at this point. And what we've done is we've married that in a deterministic one-to-one match. So we're not doing cookie syncing. We're actually working with our data partners on a one-to-one match, matching identity back to the consumers. So now what that enables us to do is understand more about the consumer, what they buy, what they drive, what they read, what type of box goods they're buying in the grocery store, how they vote, what their home ownership, what their marital status is. And we do this, and what we want to do is be able to provide that back to our advertiser partners So it's one thing to say, hey, we've got all this robust data. We're actually opening the doors and allowing our clients to come in and actually see that data. We're providing back insights for planning and for activation against all that.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So now that we have all this people-based data, really a whole full understanding of identity of people, of the devices they have. We were talking about this pre-Meredith acquisition. Time Inc. sends 40 million plus emails out on a weekly basis. We're able to constantly refresh those devices, whether somebody is engaging with Sports Illustrated content on their smart TV, or they get an email, or they're looking at something on their tablet, on their desktop. What we're able to do now is start deterministically matching and using that person as that nucleus to understand what's going on with all the devices that they have. No more probabilistic measures of maybe this is potentially this person because they exhibit these attributes and it's married to this household IP address. We know for a fact that Sarah Jones has device ID 1234. So what this helps you now, it helps you manage your dollars, the money that you guys are spending, the billions of dollars you're spending on advertising more effectively. It helps you know that now if you have a frequency cap of 4, you know that you're reaching Sarah Jones exactly 4 times, regardless of where she is. Historically, you might have potentially wanted to reach Sarah Jones, and Sarah Jones maybe had a cookie or a potential device ID, and guess what happens? After 3 impressions, that cookie deletes. You're starting back with who potentially Sarah Jones is, back at 1 again. So you're overspending on the exact same person, and you're not using your media budget to effectively hit as many people as you potentially can. Additionally, what Viant now allows you to do is take everything that you love or you hate or you love to hate or hate to love from the world of Google and Facebook and the walled garden approach and take that exact idea of fully custom audiences based off online behaviors, offline behaviors, purchases, websites, content they're absorbing, and find those people regardless of wherever you want across the open web.
Yeah, so as you follow these consumers across the open web, that's great. So now you're managing reach and frequency. Now we have to measure what are they actually doing. And with our attribution platform, we're actually able to take all the different aspects from your media campaigns and track them across all their different devices and offline and online channels. And then what we'll end up doing is stitching back that pathway so you can see on a consumer by consumer basis what your actual media investment against Jeremy Haft happens to be to quantify that lifetime value, to understand if he's purchasing this, did we have the optimal frequency? Did we over frequency him against a specific device that he may not be actually converting on? So we've got a direct integration with a company called Urban Science. So we're doing 100% closed loop sales measurement for the automotive industry, which is pretty new to the space to be able to do this. So this is an actionable example that we pulled out for one of our advertisers. And just being able to see and timestamp, all right, this person was exposed to a desktop video ad. Then they received an email from the manufacturer. We timestamped that. Then they were exposed to a TV ad using our partnerships, our ACR technology, being able to see which programming, how long they engaged with that. Followed up by a mobile video ad, search ad, and then looking at that and then working with our clients to understand, all right, what is the best attribution model for that? Is it giving them last touch? Is it position decay? Does it need to be even spread? Do we need to use Shapely Value to introduce a little bit of game theory in there? So we've got a couple different ways that we can interact with our clients to actually provide this transparent path to purchase. So yeah, with multi-touch attribution, it's all about transparency. I mean, you have to understand and see the transparency on a channel-by-channel basis. You have to see it on a device-by-device basis to understand how everything overlaps, to see the impact, to better optimize your budgets in real time, to see if there's any type of shifts in consumer behaviors. And then being able to actually quantify, all right, what is this? Is it in-store, or an online measurement? Are we looking at foot traffic? Are we looking at specific KPIs? So being able to see all of that in real time in a fully transparent model and having that at your fingertips and not having to wait for a company to come back to you, 2 to 3 months post-campaign to understand what's happening, we're now enabling you to optimize your dollars a little bit more effectively. So the way that we back all of this up, so we've got a great platform. We have the advertising cloud, identity management platform. We've got a DSP for self-service activation, and we can also operate managed service capacity. And then we have the data analytics platform. But the underpinning of this is our data lake. So a lot of y'all use data lakes to work with unstructured data, to do queries. What we do is we actually allow you to commingle your data within our data. So we've got the 250 million consumers, all the consumer insights. You can take your CRM data, your sales data, your log files, pull all that in there, and then we'll help start to augment your data and close some of those consumer data points that you're trying to find out about, and then pass that back to you. We also have a couple different technologies that Google's now starting to employ with data visualization, and then some, oh God, I'm going a little nervous, sorry. But what's that? Thanks. It's been a long day. South by is catching up.
9 days.
No, but it's data visualization, and then we've got a workflow automation tool. So I know a lot of your marketing sciences departments are working in these data lakes, and it becomes very, very tedious. And they've got to run these same queries. And what we've been able to do is provide different efficiencies and provide a full analytics and engineering team to help support this, to extract out the transparent insights that you guys need to better inform your media decisions.
So with that said, we talk a lot about transparency. We talk a lot about measurement. We talk a lot about all this data and what it could actually do for you guys. We have some examples here for some of the brands that we saw that were attending. This by no means that we only want to talk to those brands. We love you all, but we happen to just pick these guys out in particular. So as we were looking and getting a better understanding of what these brands do, and again, this was just about purely just doing some queries within our platform, not knowing any sales data or purchase data or location data or anything that you guys could send our way. We're already able to give you guys a deeper understanding, a richer understanding of what these people are doing due to all these direct partnerships and integrations that we have. So some examples, our KFC guys, maybe they're here, I don't know. But again, we talked about Urban Science. Again, one of the key leading companies that we're working with from an automotive perspective, what we noticed is that KFC customers are 28% more likely to drive a Chevrolet than non-KFC customers. So maybe those guys should start talking about a sponsorship, some sort of partnership with Chevy. From a charity perspective, I'm sure KFC is involved with charities in some capacity, some way, shape, or form. But the key charities that we saw, so from one of our credit and debit transaction partners, it's an organization called Argus, what we're able to do is understand where people are spending money, tie that back to knowing that people are actually going in KFC and buying product, and understand that they're 25% more likely to give to animal welfare charities and 21% more to children's interest charities than non-KFC customers. So if the KFC people are listening or maybe live streaming, do some sponsorships with those guys, and I guarantee you're going to get some more KFC customers in the door. NASCAR, maybe this isn't a surprise, but they're also 38% more likely to be interested in NASCAR. Again, this is some of the combination of some of our ACR data that we have. I know we talked about this earlier, but again, tying our actual identity, the 250 million people that we're sitting on, and knowing their household IP address, knowing the TV IP address, being able to tie that back to those people and what they're engaging with and or going into a store to purchase, it gives you that full understanding of what these people are doing on a day-to-day basis. Overstock. He's probably hammered somewhere. He's partying with the rap stars, I guess. So this is pretty interesting to me, thinking about overstock, thinking about home goods, furniture, carpet, the whole nine, or area rugs. What we found out was 78% of overstock customers actually own and 22% rent. So looking at those trigger factors for overstock and be able to hit those people as they're looking, as they're researching, as they're looking for new homes and or looking to potentially buy and or rent, and which is actually interesting too, because 5% are more likely to own than non-overstock customers, knowing that more people are spending as homeowners versus renters. 10% more likely to drive a Honda than a non-overstock customer, pretty interesting. And then obviously moving and packing all that is pretty damn frustrating, so everybody needs a drink, right? But Sam Adams is actually one of the key brands that overstock customers actually purchase and drink, and 32% more likely.
Increase their average order size.
There you go, right? Best Buy. Thank you for all the data. No, I'm kidding. So obviously Best Buy, major retail chain out there. What we're able to see through a lot of the data that we have, household income data as well, on these 250 million people, is Best Buy customers are twice as likely to have a household income over $150,000. Is that true, Andy? Did you give us any data? Thank you. Super Bowl. They're actually 35% more likely to watch Super Bowl ads than non-Best Buy customers. Knowing now all the data that we're capturing from people being exposed, those households being exposed to the Super Bowl and the specific ads that they're watching, we now can find incrementality of people that have not seen the Super Bowl, didn't watch the ads, and or continue to deliver the message. If you guys want to maybe buy a Super Bowl ad next year, we can then find those people and keep them, drive them down the funnel. I don't know what the going rate is next year for Super Bowl, but we're not going to buy it for you, but we can help you negotiate the deal. And last but not least, going back to household income, this one was actually interesting. You're looking at people with a little bit more disposable income. They're 65% more likely to take frequent domestic trips, and actually 57% more likely to take frequent international trips. So maybe incorporating some sort of store area for people that are traveling. You guys may already have that. I don't know. But a lot of interesting information. This is just really scratching the surface of a lot of the data that we can provide you guys. And we can do it for you. You guys can go in and play with yourself and really pull anything that we have on, again, our entire database.
Yeah. So we thank you. We hope that we were able to demonstrate that the transparency that we're able to provide will help you with all of your activation, your planning, and your measurement.
Oh, and
did you have any more to add to that? Because I want to ask a quick question.
I know there's some questions.
No,
grab that one.
Anybody have any questions?
Well, first of all, big round of applause for these guys. Thank you very much. I actually have a quick question. I wondered when I saw the Facebook and Google, that image that you had there, and with your entire audience set and just the general value proposition, in competing with those two, how much does price come into play with you guys as a competitive to those other two? Or is that not a good question to ask? But that's the first question I asked was, wow, how does price come into the conversation when you guys are out there?
A lot of it's, do you want me to take this one? A lot of it's within the flexibility of what we offer, because we're not in the business of just selling data on a standalone basis. We want to give data to help inform, but a lot of our advertisers either work with us in a managed and a measurement, or a media and a measurement capacity, or in a standalone measurement capacity, where we actually sit as a neutral party. From a pricing standpoint, they really look at it as we're not as big as they are, so we make it a little bit more palatable for them to engage with us. And then just being a smaller company, not having thousands of engineers and having to steer the Titanic, we're agile, we're nimble. Our speed to market on a lot of these solutions actually hits home for a lot of these enterprises, and we're now figuring out, as we've been doing this for the past couple of years, how we can work across different organizations beyond the media department to find different solutions.
Yeah, just thank you. Anyone else want to grab a question with these guys before we cut them loose? Anyone? We've got Jeremy and Brian and more colleagues. Aaron is here, and Monique is here as well. So if you have questions for these guys, they're here for the duration. They are also providing games and drinks at the bar after this. So if you're not going to go hit an activity, please join them over at the bar here, and they'll be there for. When's that going to get going?
Around
2. Okay, so right after we're done here, 1:45, 2 o'clock, head over. Good. Again, thanks, guys. Viant, everybody.